All right. Who we calling? What are we up to?
Well, for me, I'm reaching out to the buyer that I had before because Kathy reached out and said there's another house on the same street within his price range.
Yep.
And then I got invited to another open house this weekend.
Okay. So how many conversations would you say you had last week? Well, this week because it's
At
Friday.
least 50 within the open house alone.
Okay. And outside of the open house?
Outside of the open house, it was about 10. It wasn't too much.
Okay. Adam, what are you up to?
I've actually just been touching base with a list that I had for my previous office,
Yep.
bunch of multifamily lists, and actually I had pulled something recently that a guy wants to sell his two-family property and possibly 1031 into something else, and he's also wanting to sell, his house that he in Reading, which he wants to downsize and condo and get a condo. So I'm definitely gonna be touching base with him over the next few weeks and try and put something together for him. But just touching base with the multifamily stuff and really trying to touch base with that market because that's really where I want to be.
Yep. Perfect. Manuela, how are you doing? Have you made any calls this week?
No.
Okay.
Basically, I joined the call today to participate. I have off market listing, off market opportunity. So I'm kind of will be creating something to find the buyer. Basically,
Gotcha.
that's the plan. I got one call from one person from a newspaper, and the person like talked to me, but never sent an email. And I call, he doesn't pick up the phone. So maybe there will be something I will discover today, something during this call. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Sri and Stanley, who have you called this week?
I've called all the leads that I've seen on the website, and one of them turned into a buyer consultation yesterday.
Congratulations. Good job.
I followed your advice. So when they got back and said, I'm kind of looking for 3, 4 bedrooms, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, we should really meet today. Are you available today? And she said, well, I work 3 jobs. I said, well, you can just give me an hour notice and I'll meet you at Dunkin' Donuts. So she did. She said, I'll meet you at 3:30. I said, great. We had a great meeting.
Yeah. Here's what happens next.
Yeah,
We
and yeah, and I gave her my buyer consultation guide that had all kinds of information, which, about the neighborhoods and all that
Yep.
stuff. And she was like totally impressed. She goes, well, I was with another agent. I never got any of this information. I came to her with a lender program for her, everything ready to go. Just say, here, go research this. And when you're ready, we'll get going.
So can I give you feedback?
Yep.
So go research all this, and when you're ready,
Well,
we'll
no, I said to her, call the lender. She's like, I'll have to call tomorrow. I said, no, he's 24/7. You can call him right now on the way home. All right, I'll call him. I said, get right back to me after you get in touch with him. I said, he'll probably call me anyways to say he made contact. If you don't like him, I have another lender.
Yeah.
Until we find a lender, I said, that's step one. Until we are clear on your finances, we don't look at houses except
Okay.
online.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be more like that, right?
Yes,
Not
and
leave it to her.
Yes, because at the end of the day, if they don't have if you just leave them hanging, all right, call a lender and be done with it. Yeah. So here's what's next. Review this information, talk to the lender. If you get all that done by next weekend, we'll schedule showings for properties. Like literally, here's what's next. All right, Shri, I know you're just getting started. Did you have any calls this week?
Actually, I had one buyer. We put offer and all, and I was attending trainings here, so I was busy. But and to interact with the buyer, I didn't have my buyer strategic file, or the file is not ready with me. I'm still looking into it. Yesterday only, I got info about the strategic plan you mentioned. I'll look into it and I'll start doing it.
Yeah.
Thank
For
you.
those that, so last night at 6 o'clock, well, at 1 o'clock, we had a call where we were talking about the whole strategy session and the overall concept of it. 6 o'clock call last night, we actually went through the actual presentation. You all have access to it. Your market centers pay for your growth opportunity. So if you go to agentgrowth365.com, anything you see on there, you just click buy, purchase, whatever it says on there, you put the code in of InnerCirc 365, INNERCIRC 365, and it's all yours. On the agent resource page, there is 3 strategy sessions for buyers, 3 strategy sessions for sellers, one for an experienced buyer, a first-time buyer, and an investor buyer. Yes,
I'm sorry, the code you said so fast. I'm not able to.
I'm going to
copy
put it in the chat for you.
Oh,
So the
thanks.
website address is agentgrowth365.com. I promise you, I wish 28 years ago I had this information on when I started, because I would be a multimillionaire at this point. This is your business in a box. Everything you need for conversations is all there. Everything we go over here. And the cool thing is, it's not only the conversation that you're going to take and run, but you're going to learn from it, right? Because all of you are newer agents. There's things that you know, and there's things you don't know. Some of you have bought houses, some of you have not. You've been on if you bought a house, you've been on the buyer side. If you sold the house, you've been on the seller side. Now you need to understand the buyer side. All of this stuff that I'm putting together for you is to make your life easier. Just take advantage of it and go and run with it. Because here's the deal, and this specifically for you, Stan, you have people that reach out to you on the website and they don't respond. If you go to the communication hub, there's a 30, 60, 90, 180, and 2-year plan that you could just run those plays and make it your voice. So stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Just use the content and make it your voice. I promise you, you'll get done faster, but that's not the point of this call. Go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I'm actually using that. I looked
Yeah.
into that yesterday.
It's a
Yeah.
game changer. I wish I had it, like legit. And the cool thing is with AI today, it takes minutes to figure things out versus searching the internet hours and hours of your life. So take advantage of it. And if there's something missing that you need, let me know and I'll get it to you. Now let's have a conversation about lead generation. There are 3, when we look at our business plan, the business plan includes your database is priority number 1. Priority number 2 is lead gen conversations. The lead gen conversations are to get now business, future business, or today business. And then priority number 3 is whenever you have a listing, whether it's your listing or somebody else's, how do you get 2 pieces of business from that listing? So Stacy doing your open house, right? You had the opportunity to write an offer. You have a potential buyer. There were 50 people that walked through. We talked about, did you end up door knocking the neighborhood? Did you circle prospect? Did you put it on social media? Did you let your database know about it? That is every time you have an open house opportunity or a listing opportunity, unless it's off market, because off market you have to follow rules. So Manuela, this doesn't apply to your off market one. But at the end of the day, that is the opportunity. Your mission is to have 100 conversations a week. Not all conversations are equal, right? Database knows you, likes you, and knows how to refer business to you. Lead generation calls are people that you're either going to get business from immediately, or you're going to add them to your database to continue the relationship. And the lead generation around the listing is to find other people that are thinking about real estate. The database, they have to know you and trust you, and that takes time to work. And if they're not thinking of buying or selling real estate in the next 6 months, what are you offering them? I've shared before, when you're having a conversation, like we talk about the DTD2, right? DTD2, the 3rd quarter is starting July 7th, which is the first Monday of the new year. So we go back to anybody that has a last name of A and W. If you don't have the DTD2 process, I'm going to put it in the chat. So we call our people, and if we know they're not thinking of real estate, what are we offering them? What I want you to think about that is what's going on in your community, right? If you were just calling somebody to say, hello, how are you? And DTD2's in the chat. If you were calling somebody to say, hey, how are you? And you know that they have a family of young kids, what's one thing that you could share with them on that call that makes you valuable? So what in your community is going on? Do you have a community pool? Is there a fair? Is there a festival? Is there a special event that's going on, right? For your empty nesters, what's going on in their world, right? for your single friends that might be looking for relationships. And again, these are people you know, so you're gonna have you know them, you know what they're up to. There may be like a speed dating event that you could share with them, right? So do you know your personal database personally? So that if they're not thinking of buying or selling real estate, when you call them and say, hey, I was just thinking about you, there's this great event going on that I thought you may be interested in. And then go into the forward conversation. How's the family? How's work? Are you doing anything fun this summer? Is there anything I can help you with real estate? You have any questions? Anybody in your world thinking about making a move? So you start the call with a relationship, and then you end with a referral request, right? But it has to be natural and fair, and it has to be relational. We're not calling people. Back in the day, the script was, hey, this is my quarterly call. This is a business call. Who do you know that's thinking of making a move? That is not relational, right? Relational is how do you know them? How are you? So that's number one. So this week coming up, done. This week coming up is anybody with the last name Y and Z. That is a really easy list. So who in your database has last name Y and Z? It's a few people. It'll get you into the rhythm. And then the week of the 7th is A and W, and it starts all over again. So can you all commit next week to calling everybody in your database with the last name Y and Z? I have one head shaking. I have two heads shaking.
What if you've already reached out and they're not interested?
Well, you're not calling them about real estate. What are you calling them about?
Family, occupation, checking in, basically making a relationship.
Yeah. Because out of 100 people, only 2 will probably do a real estate transaction. One will be a referral and one may be internal. Right? For every 100 people in your database, there's 6.37 transaction opportunities. Only 2 of them are going to be direct, like the people that you talk to. The other 4.5 are going to be people that they know. What this solves is every 7.5 days, they forget you're in real estate, unless they're your mother or somebody that really cares about you. So if they forget every 7.5 days that you're in real estate, what are you delivering to make sure that they don't forget? And if they're not buying real estate in the next 6 months, what are you delivering? A lot of us immediately go in for the purchase. Number one, you haven't earned the right to ask. As a new agent, you've earned the right to let them know that you're in real estate and say, if you have any real estate needs, please reach out. I'd love to help you. You've earned the right to say that, but you haven't earned the right to call them every single week asking who do they know. You haven't built the relationship. Make sense? And with that being said, if you ask any agent, a good 60 to 80% of their business comes from their database. So if you're shying away from it, don't. Sri.
Tiffany, I have one of the neighbor. She is like not planning to sell now, but in future, in a year or so, how to keep interact and how to make her feel okay, I'm there to be for her, instead of saying hi, how are you? I want to establish that okay, something more. How I can go? What is a
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that says that they're looking to buy in like the next 12 months, I would give them every 2 months, I would give them a market analysis and just let them know this is what's happened over the last 2 months, and not specific to their property, specific to their town. And then at the bottom of it, I would say, when you're ready for a more specific market analysis, reach out to me. And if they're a neighbor, you can mail it or drop it off. I would drop it off so that you can have that conversation.
Okay, mail or drop it off means the papers. We want physical papers and hand it over to her.
Yeah, don't email it. Send it as like a physical document, and either drop it off in person or do it through the mail.
Okay, when I meet her, I can hand it over to her. This is the analysis. You can go through if it is flexible.
Yeah, and then every 2 months you send it to her.
Okay, and another one, do we need to include this, how many pages it can be? Because when I do the CMA, it's coming like around 20.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that kind of CMA. I would literally just do this is what's up in your market.
The bar table.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In the other thing that I would do
Mhm.
is on the website,
Mhm.
there is right here a 12-month seller lead communication plan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this just gives different idea. Like if you download this, it's for each month.
Mhm.
So I would just, and again, it's what I'm giving you is the content, you make it yours.
Right. Got it.
But your goal is to stay in touch with them every month.
Yeah, there are a couple of people they say like they are planning next year, so I just want to stay like they should not utilize their funds to maintain credit store. So this
Yep.
kind of thing I want to make them make sure with them be ready with the financial aspect.
Yeah. Here's the other piece of that.
Mhm.
Agents do lead generation. They're like, I'm not getting now business, I'm getting people in the future, and they don't put together a plan to follow up.
Mhm.
The win isn't in the lead generation, the win is in the follow-up. So
Right.
if you like, let's just say your goal is to do 24 transactions in the next 12 months. In order to do 24 transactions, you need to have 72 people in your database
Sorry.
that are thinking of buying or selling real estate in the next year. Because for every 10 people in your database, one will do a piece of business in the next 30 days. I mean, everything we do is math and communication. Like if we could just get, and easier said than done, if we could just get out of our head, we would win at a high level. But we tell ourselves these crazy stories. And when we tell ourselves these crazy stories, that's how we don't win. So it's kind of like you have to be brave before you're brave. Adam.
I have a question. So I've been like dogging this owner in Newburyport who's in pre-foreclosure, and he's basically told me everything he needs to tell me that he needs to sell. He's in the process of selling his business. His money's caught up. The money that's buying the business is caught up in court through the estate, whatever. And basically came out in pre-foreclosure back in May. I've scheduled a meeting with him and he kind of keeps blowing me off. And I went up there yesterday, and he told me to give him a call. I gave him a call and he told me, okay, I'll meet you there. 10 minutes before the appointment, he called me, said, I can't meet. Um, and then I caught him on the phone yesterday and basically said, look, I can't keep doing this. It's wasting my time. I keep putting off appointments to try and meet you. He's like, okay. And because he told me to call him back. He just keeps telling me to call him back at the end of the day, every other day, to try and schedule the appointment. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best route because it's him and his wife. His wife is at the home every day, but I have not talked to her once.
Well, and you want them both present. You don't
Exactly.
just want one. So and I think what you need to figure out, and you won't be able to figure it out until you have the meeting, is who's the driver,
Right.
whether it's the wife or the husband. So you got to figure out who's the driver. You got to be in relationship with both. And yet the driver is the one that you're going to want to really push. The other question is, you know, two things is what's the most important thing that we go over that you're not going to reschedule this appointment? Like, what's the most important thing that we need to talk about to get you out of this situation so that you show up for the appointment? Because obviously you're not seeing value in meeting with me.
Right.
You know the value of you meeting with me. And the longer we wait, the more this whole thing's going to cost you.
Right. And his excuse to that is, oh, I have an attorney. If there's a auction on the property, I have an attorney, which is
Yeah.
really frustrating. But I mean,
What he's not thinking about is every day that he does not meet with you, he's paying interest and attorney fees.
yep, exactly. I've explained that to him multiple times, and he simply just doesn't care. It's insane. I know he owns a shop relatively like a town over from me. I'm thinking about just showing up there one morning and say, let's go out for coffee and just let's talk because we need to get this solved because
Well, and
the money.
I'm gonna tell you, you can't want it more than they do.
Okay.
So this comes down to the statement of if you want 24 closings, you have 72 people in your database.
Yep.
A third are going to work with you, a third are going to change their mind, a third are going to work with someone else.
Yep.
Right. You can't want it more than they do.
Yep.
And if they think they can, and here's the deal, this guy thinks his attorney's going to take care of all his problems, and it very well may be true, but he's not motivated enough. And my concern is if he does list it, is he going to play this game with you the whole time you have it listed?
Right.
And I feel like you've had that experience before because
Yep.
it's who you go after as an opportunity.
Yep.
So when you have 72 people in your pipeline, if you're looking to do 24 deals, when somebody acts like that, you can continue nurturing the relationship, but you have zero issue saying next, right? So especially with you being in business as long as you have, the question that I would ask you is, are you really working your database to the level that you should? Are you lead generating outside of the pre-foreclosure and foreclosure? And are you taking opportunities to, take advantage of someone else's listing or your own listing to get those 2 additional pieces of business? Because when you pigeonhole yourself into one area or one situation, you're always going to have that fight.
Okay.
And not for naught, I lived your world in 06 to 12. It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to lose one right now. It's a short sale. They're like completely underwater. So
Yeah, it's a lot. And I tell you that from personal experience. I know you like it.
Trust me, I don't like it. I wanna throw it in the water and get rid of it. Like that's why I'm
That's-
really trying to like get out of this and get into investment side of real estate because honestly I don't like the single family stuff because it's very relationship based and I
and that's not who
understand
you are.
yeah, that's not who I am at all.
And trust me, I am no different than I am not a relationship person. Like if you all heard me say it, I will cold call all day long to avoid having a relationship and having to go to coffee with somebody. That is not what I do. I'm not saying anything to you. We all have our preferences. Adam and I are very similar in the fact that we don't want to build relationships. We just want to do the transaction and move on. It is 1,000 times harder to have that mindset than it is to have the mindset of build a relationship and keep getting referrals from the relationships. Adam, what I suggest, if you want to go after investments, what you might do is find people that own more than one investment property.
Yep.
And just monthly send them or quarterly send them a market analysis on everything that they have in their portfolio.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
go whatever, pick a couple of towns.
Mhm.
Start with finding people that own more than one property. And then after you do that, find people that just that's your first group, because if they own more than one property, they might be looking to do a 1031 and move, and exactly what we
Right.
talked about before.
Right.
And then go to the people that just own one investment property that they don't live at.
Right. And see if they want to buy or sell in 1031.
Yeah, absolutely. Manuela.
Right, because I went to this webpage, Agent Grow, and then I don't know how do I navigate this. I go to login.
No,
But-
you don't log in here.
No. So what can you tell me?
Yeah.
Present?
So let's say you're in your communication plan and you want to download all the stuff for Sphere of Influence. You just click on the download.
I have
Go ahead, ask your
Can I
question.
share the screen so I show you and you tell me what's up? Ah,
Yeah.
you're sharing the
No,
screen,
no,
right?
you go ahead. You share your screen. It's easier if you do it
Okay,
because you're
right.
touching it.
Okay, where is this? Okay, hop, share, and then I quick show you this. Okay, and now what do I do here? How do I work?
I don't see your screen yet. There it is.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, now go back. You had it on. Go back there. So go to Agent Growth 365. The first one.
Ah, this one. Okay, this one. I have to click on that. Okay.
Now you're
Uh-huh.
gonna do you want to look at the agent resources? Pick one of these that you want to go into. Agent resources or communication blueprints.
Communication blueprints. All right. Mm-hmm.
Now scroll down and just pick one.
Okay, now I see. Okay, let's say this one, right? Like we
Yep.
just did. So this is, I just wanted to train it. Okay.
Now
And
put
then
your
I-
code in there and then fill it out. When you put the code in, it zeroes out the price.
Okay, there will be the 1 second. Oh my God. All right. So when I put the I don't have the coupon code at my hand now.
Yeah, so when you put the coupon code, it'll all work out.
All right. I appreciate. That's it.
All right, good. All right. Anyone else have questions? It's gonna be, I think it's a rainy weekend in Maine. Is it a rainy weekend in the rest of New England? No? Stan, you're gonna have decent weather?
Some rain tomorrow.
Okay, so things I want you to think about is if you want to talk, if you just want to go out and meet people, wear your name badge, wear Keller Williams, go to a farmer's market. Do you have a fair or festival going on? When you go to the grocery store, have your name badge on. Somebody asks you, how's the market? Are you thinking, how are you thinking about it? Are you thinking as a buyer, seller, or an investor? Like, because each one of those people have a different opinion on how the market is. So as you're thinking about this conversation, your mission and your goal is to talk to 100 different people about real estate.
Tiffany, I have a question, please.
Yep.
When you mentioned about approaching investors, you said pick a couple of towns and then look at the people who own more than one property, right? What's the idea? Is like they would sell the second one or they would want to buy more? Is it just to identifying investors? What
Well,
is the idea?
people, so again, Adam is specifically looking to go after like he does not want to work with single families, so he's going after the investor. He's got to build relationships with
And
all-
I am in the same situation.
yeah, so he needs to build relationships with all those people. In order to build relationships, you have to add value to their world. So if you give them a quarterly market analysis on their entire portfolio and say, if you were thinking about making any changes, you know, whether it be a 1031 exchange or downsizing or upsizing, I'd love to talk to you about your real estate needs. So if
Okay, would it be different, the kind like for single family homes, you send kind of just a report, summary report, but for investors, maybe they would want more than that.
no, I would probably I would give them a market analysis on each one of their properties. So whatever the
Okay.
potential value is and say obvious, and then the caveat is this is a, you know, this is a market analysis. Your property may be worth more or less depending on the condition, and I would need to see it to be able to give you that information.
Oh, so what you mean by market analysis is literally giving them an estimate
Correct.
and hoping they would call you and meet you and maybe.
But
Because
there's consistency with
I
that.
see,
Adam,
I
go
see.
ahead.
the buildings are usually traded based off of cap rate and condition. So that's
Correct.
another thing. So I mean, basically you can say like I'm gonna here's a price range from X, like let's just say 800,000 to $1 million. That's what you could be looking at, right? And that's a vast wide range. But you obviously have to get together with them and identify, do they have leases in place? Do they have, you know, are their rents low? You have to identify what could be a value add, or if it's a stabilized property. That's what you have to identify.
So I'm going to go in here real quick. This is my MLS. I'm in the state of Maine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up expireds and canceled multifamilies in the state of Maine, right? And I'm just going to do in a county that I work. So I'm going to do Cumberland County. So there were 100, and I'm just doing this to show you exactly what Adam just said. So I'm going to go in here, and most of you, we're going to spend a few minutes on this because I think it's important. The next call, most of you come on the next call. So I'm going to just say that I'm going to go after the 6 unit, right? So I'm going to turn around and I'm going to pull this address. Actually, yeah, I'm pull this address. And to Adam's point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this report. And I'm going to do, and again, each one of our MLS is a little bit different. I want to actually do, it's been a minute. I don't want to do a one line. I want to do private. I don't want to do list. I want to do detail. I'm going to do a detailed report. I'm going to print, and then I'm going to print it as a PDF, and I'm going to save it. So now what I'm going to do, because Adam made a great point. So now I'm going to go into my AI, And this is what this is, whether you're doing a single family or you're doing an investment property, this is how you're going to play. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to put the address. I'm going to add, and I'm using this property as an example. I have no idea what this is going to say, but I want to give you the source and how to do it. So I'm going to, this is an investment property. Please create a investment analysis, including cap rate. And I have no idea what it's going to say, because I didn't look at the document to see if I knew if the rents and everything were on there. But this is what I would do. So property view, it's it's 6 units, list price, the square footage, right? It was built in 1960, fully rented, all 6 units under lease. It has an in-ground pool, 2-car detached. Annual income reported was 102. This matches the sum of reported rents. Total rent was this, annualized rent. We'll proceed using the provided gross income, expenses, and then it literally goes in and it does your cap rate for you. So on this one, the cap rate is 8.25. Back in the day, before market values went up as high as they did, we always like to see a 10 to 11% cap rate. Now, a 7 to 9% cap rate is excellent. So it says, so here's the investment highlights. It has an attractive cap rate, owner financing available, 50% down at 5% interest. And this is probably an old expired because that interest rate would be higher. Amenities, enhanced tenant retention, pool, outdoor areas and storage, long-term owner history, right? All used leases are rented, separate utilities, cash flow, and then recommend to confirm whether the expenses includes property taxes and reserves. And it gives you all the recommendations. So now in less than 3 minutes, I was able to create a document on whether this would be a smart investment for somebody.
And literally all you do is tell it to put it in as a PDF and it will literally make a doc for you.
Yeah, yep. So those are the things that you do. So to go back, I really quickly just found a property in the MLS, but if I were to do this exercise, I would go into the city records. I would get they have an owner roll, and sometimes you have to pay for it, but you get an owner roll, which has all of the owners. You put it in an Excel or a Google sheet, you sort it by owner name, and then you'll see who has the most properties. And then you just literally, if you don't want to do the work, throw it in AI and let AI do the work. And if you want to do the work because you want to practice, throw it into an MLS and do it yourself. I would put it in the MLS, do it myself, and then compare it to what AI says and see which one is right. Was this helpful?
Very.
Yeah, in my world, 100%. If I were, and my kids are getting into real estate, so I am getting back into the business. My favorite way of lead generation, and again, I like pain, is cold lead gen, right? So I would talk to people that have owned their home for 5 years or longer, pre-foreclosures and foreclosures, absentee owners, probate, anyone that has a reason to sell, right? Some people go after divorce, like you get the court records for divorces. You got to be careful on that because like with probate, they call you an ambulance chaser. Divorce, depending on how you have that conversation with them, you have to be cautious because it's very emotional and sensitive. Those are all people that have raised their hand. And then after that, then you have the door knocking, the circle prospecting, which is just shooting from the hip to see if something comes together. And then you have your database. And again, even though I work differently, my number one advice to you, if you want business quick, is talk to your database. They're the ones that know you and like you and want to see you succeed. All right. Happy Friday. Was this helpful?
Very helpful. I'm sorry. May I ask, you said you will go to the city hall and what would you ask again?
So I go to the website, like some of
Uh-huh.
my websites, and I would see if they have a property owner role, like tax roll. And some of them do. If they do, then I just download it directly from the website. If they don't, then I have to go to the assessor's office and say, hey, I'm looking for a tax owner role that has X. Like some, like I've pulled tax owner rolls for condos, for multifamilies, all of those different things. All right, questions, thoughts? Go have fun.
Which is
Go
which
ahead.
is an information you can compile from MLS too. It's just before MLS gave you all the public records. Now it's not the case. I don't know
Yeah.
why it changed.
Yeah, I don't, you
Um,
have to ask your MLS that. I will tell you though, it was the MLS pin tax rolls, I think is what it was called. I don't know that you can search for, I don't know that you could search the same way as if you had an Excel spreadsheet. It's easier to search from a Google sheet or an Excel spreadsheet. All right,
Sure.
I gotta hop over to the other call. If you guys need anything, you know how to reach me.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.